Hey, did you hear the news going around about Nancy Sinatra? Yeah, the one that says she's really sick, maybe even in the hospital, or that she's saying goodbye to her fans? I mean, that sounds serious, right? But guess what? None of that is true. Yep. Nancy Sinatra, who's 85 now, is alive, well, and honestly, still full of fire. She just spoke up and called out all those stories. And what she said? It wasn't just a quick correction. It was a bold reminder. About how fake news spreads. How people believe it. And how it hurts. And you know what? It got a lot of folks thinking. Not just about Nancy, but about how easy it is to fall for headlines that aren't real. So in this video, we're gonna talk about what really happened. What Nancy said. Why she felt the need to speak out. And why her message matters to all of us, even if you're not someone who usually cares about celebrity gossip. Because let's be honest, who hasn't been fooled by something online? Let's break it all down together. So, here's how it started. Out of nowhere, these sketchy headlines started popping up. Articles claiming Nancy was gravely ill. Some even said her family had said their final goodbyes. A few mentioned she was in the hospital, possibly not going to make it. Now, for anyone who grew up listening to her songs, or even just knows her name, that's heartbreaking. No one wants to see an icon go through something so scary. And the way these stories were written? They sounded real. Convincing. Like they came from some official source. But they didn't. They were made up. Just lies. And people believed them. Fans started freaking out. Some left emotional messages on her social media. Others shared the news thinking they were helping spread awareness. And just like that, it snowballed. And here's the thing, Nancy saw all of this. She saw the rumors spreading. Saw the comments. The fake sympathy. The fear. So she decided enough was enough. She jumped on Twitter and shut it down in the most direct, no-nonsense way. She said, "To those spreading lies about my health, stop. I'm alive, well, and enjoying life. These rumors are fake, cruel, and hurtful. Simple. Clear. Strong." She didn't give a dramatic speech. She didn't need a press conference. Just one post that told the truth. And honestly, that one post did more than just shut down a rumor. It reminded people how important it is to think before we believe something online. Because here's what's really going on, this kind of thing. It's happening all the time now. We live in a world where one viral post can take a fake story and make it feel real. Especially when it involves someone older. Someone like Nancy. And you know what's worse? These stories don't just confuse people. They hurt them. Imagine this for a second. You're in your 80s. You've lived an amazing life. You've seen the world change in ways no one could have predicted. You've had your ups and downs, your joys and losses. You're not chasing the spotlight anymore, but you're not fading away either. You still post online. You still stay connected. You still speak your mind when you feel it's important. Now imagine waking up one morning, grabbing your phone, and seeing your name plastered all over the internet. And not for something you said or did. But because some random website decided to claim you're dying. That your time's up. That your family is saying goodbye. That your fans should brace for the worst. Even though you're perfectly fine. Can you imagine how that would feel? Not just confusing, but deeply hurtful. Cruel, even. Seeing the world treat you like you've already left it, while you're still here, very much alive, very much yourself. That's exactly what happened to Nancy Sinatra. And the way she handled it? It deserves way more attention than it's getting. Because Nancy didn't just defend herself from the lies. She took a stand. For truth. For integrity. For all the people who've been dragged through fake stories and cheap clickbait just because someone wanted a few extra views. And honestly, can we pause for a second and really appreciate that? Because most people, especially at 85, would probably just shake their heads, maybe talk about it with close friends, and move on quietly. But Nancy? She jumped into the chaos of social media and said exactly what needed to be said. With grace. With honesty. And yeah, with guts. And it wasn't just about herself. It was a reminder to all of us. She reminded us how easy it is to get pulled into drama online. How tempting it is to click on a dramatic headline, share it without thinking, and move on, without realizing the damage it does. She reminded us to slow down. To think before we react. To ask, wait, is this even real? And if we're being honest, who hasn't fallen for something online before? I mean, let's be real. We've all seen one of those celebrity death hoaxes at some point. Some random post saying a famous actor or singer passed away, and then you look it up, and they're completely fine. Just living their life. Probably sipping coffee or taking a walk while the internet is mourning them for no reason. It happens all the time. And each time, it chips away at our ability to trust what we see. That's why Nancy's message hit so hard. Because she didn't just say, "I'm fine." She didn't just clear the air and disappear. She stood tall and said, "Stop lying." She didn't yell. She didn't curse anyone out. She didn't start a fight. She just told the truth. And that kind of honesty? That kind of simple, grounded truth? It's rare these days. And so refreshing. Now, if you're wondering how we even got here, how this all started, let's break it down. It began like these things usually do. Quietly. A couple of sketchy headlines showed up online. They weren't from big news outlets or verified sources. Just those random websites that throw together dramatic titles with grainy photos. The articles claimed Nancy was gravely ill. Some went as far as saying she was already hospitalized. Others made it sound like she'd said goodbye to her fans, like this was her final message before the end. And of course, people clicked. Because that kind of news grabs attention. It shocks you. It tugs at your emotions. You feel something, and you want to know more. So, you read it. Then maybe you share it. You think, "Oh no, poor Nancy." Or, "I didn't even know she was sick." But here's the problem, none of it was true. Nancy wasn't in the hospital. She wasn't saying goodbye. She wasn't dying. She was living her life, like usual. And when she saw all the stories, the rumors, the emotional posts from fans who were scared for her, she had a choice. She could ignore it and let the internet keep spinning. Or she could speak up. She chose to speak up. She posted on Twitter, just one clear, direct message. She said, "To those spreading lies about my health, stop. I'm alive, well, and enjoying life. These rumors are fake, cruel, and hurtful." That's it. No dramatic flair. No big speech. Just the truth. Simple. Honest. And deeply necessary. And honestly, that post wasn't just about clearing up a rumor. It was about holding people accountable. It was about reminding us all how powerful words can be, especially when they're false. Because it's not just Nancy who gets hurt by this stuff. It's her fans. Her family. The people who care about her. The people who panic when they see her name trending for the wrong reasons. And let's be real, this kind of fake news doesn't stop with celebrities. It happens to everyday people, too. Stories get twisted. Facts get ignored. Assumptions get turned into headlines. So, how do we protect ourselves from getting caught up in all that? Well, there are a few things we can do. And honestly, they're pretty simple, but super important. First, always check the source. If a story feels dramatic, shocking, or just too big to believe, take a second and look where it's coming from. Is it a real news outlet? Something with a history of accuracy? Or is it one of those sites you've never heard of, with ads popping up everywhere and no real contact info? Because a lot of the time, the fake stuff comes from places that don't care about facts. They're just chasing clicks. Second, look for a real quote. If someone like Nancy Sinatra hasn't said anything publicly, and all the information is coming from anonymous sources or a family insider, yeah, that's a red flag. People love to make stuff up and hide behind unnamed sources. But if there's no direct quote, no actual statement, be cautious. And third, don't feed the algorithm. Every time we click on a fake story, we're telling the internet, hey, give me more of this. That's how the cycle continues. But we can break it. We can choose to pause. To think. To ask questions. We can protect ourselves, and each other, just by being a little more careful with what we read and what we share. And look, this isn't about being paranoid or never trusting anything online. It's about being smart. About recognizing the difference between information and manipulation. And in this case, Nancy gave us a masterclass in how to respond. She didn't panic. She didn't lash out. She simply told the truth. With calm. With clarity. With kindness. She showed us that even in a noisy, messy digital world, you can still lead with dignity. And no, she's not retiring. She's not fading into the background. She's still posting. Still standing up for what matters. Still showing support for the things she believes in. She's just living her life. Quietly. Honestly. On her own terms. And you know what? There's something really beautiful about that. No farewell tour. No sad final interview. No secret hospital stay. Just a woman who's been through decades of life, still standing tall, still telling it like it is. And she wants people to know she's okay. Now let me ask you something, and be honest. Have you ever fallen for something online that later turned out to be fake? Like maybe you saw a post saying a celebrity had passed, and it made you emotional, only to find out later they were totally fine? Or maybe it was a headline about a scandal or a disaster, and then it just disappeared the next day. It happens. To everyone. And you know what? That's nothing to be ashamed of. Because the internet is built to grab our attention. To make us feel something fast. It's designed to make us click before we think. But when we share our experiences, when we talk about the times we got fooled, it helps us learn. It helps us see the patterns. And it helps us grow a little more careful. So if something like that has ever happened to you, drop it in the comments. Let's talk about it. Let's make this a space where people can learn, connect, and become a little more mindful together. And hey, if this story gave you even a little bit of clarity, if it helped you see the bigger picture, feel free to hit that like button. It really does help more people find videos like this. And maybe consider subscribing, too, if you want more content that dives into the truth behind the headlines. Stories that matter. Stories that stick with you. Stories that make you think. And while you're here, check out the video we did on Dolly Parton's emotional return after her husband passed away. That one is full of real emotion. Real strength. Real love. No lies. Just truth. Because sometimes, the truth is more powerful than any headline. So the next time you see something shocking online, pause. Ask yourself, is this real? Would this person really say this? Has anyone actually confirmed it? Or is it just another dramatic story trying to grab your attention? If Nancy Sinatra can clap back at fake news at 85, with style, grace, and strength, then we can definitely do the same. Let's be better together. Thanks for watching. And really, thank you for being someone who cares enough to seek the truth. See you next time.